For this next sample, we're going to be doing a French seam. You're going to need 2 pieces of fabric, 9 inches by 4 inches. Make sure your grain line is following the 9 inches. You want to have 2-sided fabric, meaning you can tell the difference between the front and the back of the fabric. Now to start this seam out, the first thing we're going to want to do is we're going to put wrong sides together and line up our raw edges. I'm going to sew a seam a 1/2 inch with 1/2 inch seam allowance right along the raw edge. You're actually sewing on the right side of the fabric, wrong sides together. Once you've sewn your seam with a 1/2 inch seam allowance, you're going to want to press your seam, press your seam allowance out, then you want to fold back one side and press your seam so that it's laying right on the edge of that fabric. So you're pressing the right sides together. You'll open it back up. Now you see your seam allowance has been pressed together. You just want to cut that seam allowance down. Cut it down to, I like to do it to about 1/8 of an inch. All right. So now you've got your seam allowance all trimmed down. You're going to want to fold it right sides together so that that seam is just laying right on the edge. Now you're going to go back to your sewing machine and you're going to stitch a 1/4 inch seam allowance right along this edge. All right, so now I'm ready to sew. Sewing a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and you want your pressed out seam to be right on the edge of the fabric. Now you have your sewn French seam. You can take that seam and just press it to one side. And you're done. This seam is great for any kind of lightweight fabric or any fabric that really frays at the raw edges.